Hello Yobi TV, my name is Ken Holmes. I'm an actor, performance poet, MC, lyricist, playwright, screenwriter. I'm entering the YobiAct contest. I've been acting pretty much all of my life. I used to act out when I was in first grade a lot. I would get up in front of the classroom and pretend to be a fundamentalist preacher, and I would warn the students about the oncoming apocalypse. But I did crazy stuff like that, but since then I've calmed down a lot, keeping the drama for the stage. The first play that I did, where I really started taking acting seriously, was when I was 12. I acted a bit before then, but this was the play that really made me start taking this seriously as a career move, even. It was called The Merry Wives of Windsor by Shakespeare, and I played the page Robin. And it was a college production over at Castleton State College, where I would later go to school. And since then I've been doing plays like gangbusters. I've done, I don't know, probably over 40 plays or so, as well as a couple independent films in the Vermont area, mostly. I also have been writing a lot. I started writing before I could write, actually. I would dictate stories, and my dad would type them on the keyboard, and I would dictate stories about characters like Pun Pun Y, who was a snake, and HB, who was a pig, and the bad kid, who was a bad kid, and the funny dog, who was a funny dog. And I'd also use characters that I liked, like Garfield or Tintin, and I would create stories involving them. But I really started getting into writing more seriously when I took a writing workshop also when I was 12, and I wrote a story for a chapbook that the workshop published. And the story was called Sunday Without Shakespeare, which was about, obviously, FBI investigating a murder. I was on the Vermont Youth Poetry Slam team between the years of 2002 and 2004. We went to Chicago, Illinois, and Providence, Rhode Island, and Ann Arbor, Michigan, and we competed in national and regional poetry slams. And my poetry usually involved a lot of performance, so I'd have characters that were like Jacob, who was a poet and philosopher, ostracized his elderly mentor, and Hot Rod, who was a deity that took the form of an index finger and kind of spoke like Marvin the Martian. Hello. But I've been doing characters like that even before poetry slams. I would tape pseudo radio shows in my bedroom, and I would have characters on my radio shows like Bill, who was an Indian who happened to be my closest friend, and Julia Childs, who was based off an impression I heard of Julia Childs on the radio program Prairie Home Companion. But let's see, I graduated from Castleton State College in 2009, where I studied theater arts with a concentration in acting and directing, and I also minored in writing. While I was at Castleton, I did a show that I wrote called Talking Out Loud Alone. It was a one-person show, and it involved a lot of characters that I had created from my poetry, like Jacob and Ostracize, as well as some new characters like Herman Humphrey, a radio host, and Rico, who was a rather I don't know, hipster poet. But this play, though, was a more serious approach to the characters I developed in poetry, and the poetry I would perform with these characters was usually more comedic. But I'm currently working on a web series as well called Little Hearts Cafe, which also involves these characters. In addition to the poetry and the theater and the film, I've also been a little bit into hip-hop too, and under the pseudonym Chromosomes, which is a combination of my full name, which is Kenneth Reed Holmes. And so yeah, it's been a wild ride. I've done a little bit of stuff, and I'm excited for the opportunity to be in the YobiAct contest. Acting is really acting in theater and film. It's really been my passion that's been guiding me throughout life. And it's been a pretty wild ride, and thanks for the support and all that jazz, and thanks for watching.